What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my itty bitty automotive channel. I'm gonna remove this center section of the taillights and see if I can't get this Acura sticker off from the inside and replace it with something else. Maybe NSX, maybe Honda, maybe I'll just leave it with nothing. But here goes. So pop open your trunk. You're gonna have to remove these little plastic holders that keep this piece of the carpet in. And you need a tool like this. It just slides under there and we'll pop them out and you won't damage them. So I just got a little pick and you just go in here and you can pop this centerpiece up a little bit like that, and then you should be able just to slide this behind it and out it comes. And they sell these little plastic things at like AutoZone or O'Reilly's, and they're pretty cheap if you need to replace them, but pretty easy to get out. Here's what it looks like on the back side. So what you're gonna do is you gotta take off, let's see, this one, there's one up here, and then there's gonna be that one up there, and that one right there. Should be 4 of them, and I think they're 8mm nuts that are on those. Once your nuts are off there, you just kind of wiggle this thing and pull out on it, and it pulls straight out. And that's what it looks like. So we'll take this and set it on the bench, and we got to pull a few more screws out, and we'll be ready to separate this. The next step is we're going to pull these 3 screws out. They're Phillips head. Oh, it looks like somebody's, look at that, it's kind of cracked. Looks like somebody's had this out before, and they tell you when you're putting it back in, go easy on those nuts and don't crank them down, because you will break this plastic and pull these out. And it looks like somebody's already cracked this one. All right, well, I'll fix that while it's out here. So next step is to get these Phillips head screws out. Then we're going to heat around the edges here, and that's where the glue is holding this in. It should become, you know, really soft and allow you to kind of easily pry this up to get this apart. And then once that's done, you can scrape this sticker off from the inside. So let's get to it. There's 2 ways you can heat this up. I've seen posts about guys putting this in the oven for a little bit on a lower temperature and letting the heat do its thing with the glue, or you can use a heat gun, which is probably what I'm going to start with, and just go slowly. You know, you don't want to melt the plastic or anything, but go slow, and I should be able to pry this apart. So let's see what happens. I should probably put gloves on, but that would be the smart thing to do. Ain't nobody got time for that. There it is. Boom. There it is. All right, so now, once you've got this part, you need to pop this lens out here. There's tabs. Just be very careful so you don't break them, and then you'll be able to get behind and get to the sticker. I had to pry some of this glue away because it was kind of getting in the way, but once I did that, you can see it's lifting up pretty easy. Just go very slow, and voila, there it is. So we'll set that off to the side. And here's the inside. So it's just a sticker, and you can peel it off from the inside here. I would try to get it off with your fingernails. You should be able to. If you use a razor or something, you risk scratching the plastic from the inside, and then you're probably gonna be able to see it on the other side. This vinyl is actually pretty easy to get to. I've been able to remove all of it with my fingernails. So definitely do that first. If for whatever reason you have to use a razor blade, just be very, very careful. Go on the edges. You don't want to nick this plastic. You will see that from the outside. I'm a little bit spoiled in the fact that I have my own vinyl cutting machine. So I'm going to play with the NSX design and see if I can come up with something, you know, that kind of sets my car apart from everybody else's, something unique, something I like, and here's what I'm working with. So I just kind of play around in this program with different fonts and see if there's something else that kind of catches my eye as I go through here. I'm going to play with this a little bit and see what I can come up with. I've got a couple different designs that I liked, so I'm going to print each one out and just kind of hold it up to it and see which one I really like on there. I've got to print these in reverse, that way when they go down, the sticky side will be the side that you actually see and it'll stick to the plastic. I have my design picked out of the ones that I printed, and what I did was took some tape, some painter's tape, and marked center going both ways, and that way these are my center lines right here and here, so I can get it nice and squared up and it looks even. Voila. It came out pretty good. At least it's straight, at least it's centered. Now I chose this font because it was sort of Japanese-ish. I could not actually translate NSX into Japanese characters, which would have been really cool if I could figure that out, but this will do. And I decided to hyphenate it there to kind of pay homage to the original design process when they called it the NSX before they just took that out and just made it NSX. So it's my car, and you know, I like to have things on there that set me apart from every other car out there. So that's why I chose this font, and that's why I had the NS-X. I can't wait to get this reassembled and put back on the car. Let's get working on it. One thing I forgot to mention, I probably shouldn't have to, but it should be obvious. Make sure you clean the inside of your lens before you go sticking your vinyl on there. Make sure all that glue and residue from your old sticker is removed, because it's gonna come out wonky if you don't. Mine still had a bunch of glue around the edges, so all I did to put this back together was heat up around the edges there where that glue was on both pieces, and then stuck it back together, and that original glue will harden back up and seal it. So there it is, that's what it looks like. Now I just got to fix these little cracks over here with some JB Weld or something just to keep those from breaking off, and I'm ready to install it back on the car. So if you're into working on your stuff and changing your stuff up and you want to take on this project, it's very simple, very straightforward. There's a couple ways to do it. Like I mentioned, some people posted on the forums that you could bake this in the oven and pull it apart. I just used a heat gun both times and it worked just fine. Don't overheat it. You don't want to melt anything. The biggest thing I could tell you is just take your time. Be careful when you're prying it apart. Make sure everything's clean. Make sure your letters or symbol or whatever you decide to put in here is centered, you know, both ways, and you'll have an awesome end result. Thanks so much for watching. Stay hungry, stay foolish.